Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. A genius builds her future in a Chicago garage while a demon rises from centuries of evil in New York. Today, we're diving into two origin stories that couldn't be more different, Riri Williams and Blackheart. You'll discover how a 15-year-old prodigy and a supernatural entity born from darkness represent opposite sides of Marvel's legacy.
And what's fascinating is how these two characters, despite never crossing paths, perfectly embody the duality of creation and destruction in the Marvel Universe.
Let's start with Riri. How does a teenager from Chicago's South Side end up becoming one of Marvel's most brilliant heroes?
Well, Riri's story begins with tragedy. At just 10 years old, she lost both her best friend and her stepfather in a drive-by shooting. But instead of letting that darkness define her, she channeled her genius-level intellect into something extraordinary.
Wait, she was already recognized as a genius before that?
Yeah, at just 5 years old, educators identified her as a super genius. They actually told her parents to remind her that the world was beautiful and worth exploring.
That's heartbreaking given what happened later.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. She enrolled at MIT at age 11. And while there, she did something absolutely incredible. She reverse-engineered Iron Man's armor from scraps.
Hold up. She built an Iron Man suit in her dorm room?
She sure did. And her first mission? She stopped an escape at the New Mexico State Penitentiary. No powers, no accidents, just pure intellect and determination.
Now that's what I call making something from nothing. But let's pivot to our other origin story, Blackheart. Talk about the opposite of creation.
Oh yeah, Blackheart's origin is literally centuries of accumulated evil. In an area of New York called Christ's Crown, centuries of murder and tragedy caught the attention of Mephisto himself.
Mephisto? The literal devil of the Marvel Universe?
The very same. He created Blackheart from all that concentrated evil, basically making himself a son. But, let's just say their father-son relationship is complicated.
Complicated how?
Well, Blackheart constantly questions his father's methods. He sees Mephisto's approach to evil as old-fashioned, and often tries to prove himself by corrupting heroes who walk the line between good and evil.
So while Riri's building things up, Blackheart's trying to tear them down.
Exactly. And he's got some serious power to do it. He can regenerate from almost any injury, teleport between dimensions, change size and form at will, and generate these devastating blasts of black energy.
That's terrifying. But you know what's interesting? Both characters are actually trying to step out of someone else's shadow.
Oh my gosh, yes. Riri's often compared to Tony Stark, while Blackheart's constantly trying to prove himself against his father's legacy.
Speaking of Stark, how did he react when he found out about Riri?
He actually showed up at her house and gave his approval of her work. Later, he even provided her with an AI version of himself to help guide her.
That's quite different from Mephisto's parenting style.
Yeah, Mephisto actually banished Blackheart to Earth at one point, warning him that using his powers would drive him mad.
Did it?
Unfortunately, yes. He tried to recruit Ghost Rider, Punisher, and Wolverine for a war against his father. When they refused, he went off the deep end.
Meanwhile, Riri's been building quite a reputation herself, hasn't she?
Absolutely. She's worked with the Champions, joined the Young Avengers, and even helped save Moon Girl from Dr. Doom.
You mentioned earlier about her first suit being made of scraps. How has her technology evolved?
Her current suit is incredible. It gives her superhuman strength, speed, durability, plus energy repulsors and missile systems. She can even fly at supersonic speeds.
And all this from a teenager who started in a garage.
That's what makes her story so powerful. She didn't need a radioactive spider or a super soldier serum. She built her destiny with her own two hands.
You know, there's something poetic about how Blackheart was born from tragedy, while Riri rose above it.
Mm-hmm. And both of them smell unusual, though in very different ways. Blackheart smells like burning ink and roses, while Riri's suit probably smells like motor oil and innovation.
Wait, Blackheart has a specific smell?
Yeah, and he doesn't even have a heartbeat. It's part of what makes him so unsettling.
Let's talk about their impact on the Marvel Universe. How have other heroes reacted to them?
Well, Riri quickly earned respect from heroes like Spider-Man and Daredevil. Ironically, those are the same heroes Blackheart tried and failed to corrupt.
Failed to corrupt? What happened?
He actually ended up impressed by humanity's free will and concluded that evil couldn't win against good. Which, probably didn't make his dad very happy.
That's surprisingly philosophical for a demon.
Right? And speaking of philosophy, Riri's had her own moments of deep reflection. After her first mission, she really had to consider the impact of her creations on the world.
Both characters dealing with the weight of their power, just in very different ways.
Exactly. and both have had to face serious consequences. Blackheart's powers literally drove him insane, while Riri had to navigate the responsibility of wielding Stark-level technology as a teenager.
You mentioned Riri's first suit was pretty bulky. How did she develop her style?
She actually designed her later suits with Iron Man's classic red and gold colors, but with her own unique flair. It's like she's saying, I respect the legacy, but I'm doing this my way.
While Blackheart just went full demon with his look, huh?
Oh yeah, black spines, long tail, the works. Though he can actually change his form when he wants to.
These two really are perfect opposites, aren't they?
Creation versus destruction, technology versus magic, learning from tragedy versus embodying it, they're like two sides of the same coin.
And both struggling with legacy in their own ways.
That's what makes their stories so compelling. Whether you're building something new or fighting against your nature, it's all about forging your own path.
Has Blackheart ever managed to find redemption?
Interestingly, there was one moment where a young girl offered him forgiveness after one of his schemes failed. It really seemed to affect him.
Sometimes the smallest moments have the biggest impact.
Just like how Riri's whole journey started with small steps in that MIT dorm room.
You know what's really striking about both these characters?
What's that?
They both show us that our origins don't define us. Riri could have been broken by tragedy, and Blackheart could have just been pure evil.
Instead, they're both constantly evolving, questioning, and changing, for better or worse.
So what's next for these characters?
Well, Riri's star is definitely rising. She's becoming a major player in the Marvel Universe, especially with her upcoming series.
And Blackheart?
He's still out there, walking the line between his demonic nature and his moments of understanding, still trying to figure out if he's more than just his father's son.
Sounds like both of them are still writing their own stories.
That's the beauty of it. Whether you're building an armored suit in a garage or questioning your demonic nature, it's all about making your own choices.
And on that note, we've reached the end of today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. Remember, folks, whether you're working with circuits or supernatural powers, what matters most is what you choose to do with them.
And sometimes the most powerful thing you can build isn't a suit of armor or dark magic, it's your own legacy.